worry about it. This comes over like that, jumps in there. It doesn't go down very far, right? So it comes back up when you fire it. I wouldn't worry about it. If it's something odd that doesn't look right, then you obviously want to clean the face, clean and straight, right? Once I had a nick here, and that's what I did. I just filed it back and made it nice and clean and straight. So there it is. You know, the piston you're going to seal, you're going to take that off and throw it out, right? That's right. You're going to throw that out. Get rid of it. It's worthless. Get the replacement ones. Anyway, let's get back to, now you know the rifles, before we do that, you got this air chamber in here that runs, I think the porthole is about a 1/2 inch thick, right? From here. Check the porthole once you got your piston out. They're coming out now. The Hatsans are coming out where they're slightly coned. They're slightly dished out, which is great. That's what you want. Don't play with it anymore. Leave it alone. If it doesn't have a slight little dish on the edge there, then you can put one. But the main thing is check it. Make sure your metal's clean. I had one that actually had grooves in it once, and the grooves went down into the metal, and it was causing me a seal problem. These are just ring marks from the marks from the O-ring and the different lubes and stuff. But they weren't actually, they're not marks that are actually into the metal. And then once your piston's out, right, I take fine grit paper and I clean that hole. I don't bore it out anymore. All I do is I go in there with a fine grit paper, and it's a little time consuming, but I make sure that's thoroughly cleaned out back down to the metal. Who the heck knows what could be in there, but take a look and check it out. Hold it up to the light. But then you have the air chamber here. It's like a 1/2 inch back, right? It's not quite a 1/2 inch, but it's close enough. And that's when your air chamber begins. And that's the part, you know, that gets cross-hatched. So you do that properly. But this area here, this is the guy you're going to want to spend some time on. That right underneath there. This here gets all honed and smoothed out because this is the area that you have the rough edges. So you have in there, if you look back, I don't know if the camera can see that, but you have your scope nubs. You've got the slots here in this slot. You got the 3 pins. And you just got a lot going on here. Now you stick your hand in there, it's not too bad. So you can spend a little time back there smoothing these things out. If you smooth here inside, underneath, if you smooth this slot out, be very careful. The steel is very soft, okay? So you don't want to take a lot. You just want to lightly smooth this area out and then leave it. Because this is the area that the cock and shoe goes under, right? Isn't that right? You go like that. Now your cock and shoe has it. Well, if you wear that out too much underneath, this is going to rattle on you. It's going to go up and down and rattle and have free play. That you really don't want the free play there. Remember, the whole idea is try to hone these in. And the big tip of the day, number one, is this. You have your barrel off. You got your forks here. Look out for your forks. They will slice your finger right off. They are razor sharp. Okay? So that's why I tell guys, I don't like it when somebody says, yeah, I got a spring compressor and I just stick my receiver in it up against the forks. I don't like that at all. I don't recommend that. And I'm telling you right now, you shouldn't be playing around with your receiver like that. These are very dangerous. And they should be kept pristine anyway. I had at one time manipulated the forks, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do, or else you're going to throw the rifle away. That's a different story. But remember at all times, your forks are razor sharp. You're going to be wiping this to get something off, the lube that's on your hands, and you'll go right by that and slice your hand wide open. So please remember that. But anyway, what I was trying to say is down here, right there, once you go back and put things back, right, when you put your stuff back, and this is just an example, you know, your piston's got to go through all this. And then when it gets up here, you can actually nick your seal. Of course I went too far, right? Let me get my little tool. You can nick your seal when you go under there. So hone that out. The piston normally, when it's in there and comes back, I don't know exactly, but it doesn't come back that far. So this whole area right here, you can hone that out, okay? And hone a little bit under here too. But this edge right here is very important. Take your time and sand that, sand that down, work it. And then anyway, the other tip obviously is putting the piston back down. I just take a small screwdriver like this. When the piston's down this far, I'll have my little rod behind back there ready to shove it in further, and I'll get the receiver and I'll work it up closer, and I'll just hold the screwdriver like that and use this as a little to miss the edge. So that's the thing that I do. I don't know, you may do something different. Everybody's going to do something different, and that's that. So there's your piston out. The pistons are just like 14 ounces. The magnums from the Hatsans don't mess around. The 135 is about a pound. The 125s are 14 something. At any rate, I really highly suggest that you put the gas rams in. If you want spring guides, I'll make them for you. If you want gas ram adapters and steel adapters for your rifle, for inside your piston and the end, I got that. I'll make that for you, and I'll ship them out. If you do want me to make guides for you, send me the spring and I'll be glad to make you a guide exactly fitting your spring properly. Other than that, you can have somebody else make it or do it yourself, whatever. I'm just telling you what I got here. At any rate, let's get to this barrel. So this is before you're going to take your rifle apart. You got a new gun, you shot it, it's not going back so far, you're happy with it. Now you don't know, right? Maybe you didn't put a scope on it, or maybe you did. Maybe you put a scope on it, and maybe you don't know what's going on with the accuracy. It's kind of good, but it's not. It's not the greatest. Well, you know, your gun, you got to clean your barrel, right? And then you have to get that factory dirt that's in there. So you use your Goo Gone. I use the brake cleaner first, and then I run the Goo Gone down. But my whole point is this, that you're going to have to see what's going on with your barrel. And if you don't, well then you don't, but it would be nice. Now you can personally find out what's going on with your barrel. So go and grab your pellets. And you're going to basically take a pellet, put it down the bore. Give me a second, I'll wipe this lube off of here. And then you're going to basically find out what's going on inside your bore. Whether it's got a real hard spot, whether it's got no choke, whether it's falling free, what part of the barrel fits nice, what part of the barrel don't, or the barrel fits perfect. You're going to find it out. So I got a little cleaning brush rod, comes apart like that, and I always keep my eye on it. The other end I smoothed with my Dremel, and then I taped it, so when I go through the bore, it keeps the center, okay? Keeps it from digging in. All you got to do is take a pellet. And I'm going to check because I threw some pellets in here that I already ran down the bore like an idiot. And that's one of them. I guess I could use it as an example, but I don't want to stick the wrong one down. I want real live things here. So now if you got your gun, all you're doing is breaking your barrel at this point. You've shot it, you cleaned it. Okay, now you're going to say, geez, I'm going to see what Mike says. What's my barrel doing? Let's put the pellet in there and get it started. Now this breech in here is always a little tight, so. But I haven't shot it. This gun's brand new. It has nothing's been done to it other than been taken apart and the barrel's been cleaned. So what you do is you slide the pellet through with your rod, and you're just using this now as a feeling gauge, and you're trying to see all the different nuances that's going on in the block area and all the way through, and remember what you're getting. So we're going here. I have Very good resistance, but it's not overly, it's not fighting me. I just have a nice pellet resistance, a good pellet to bore fit. Right here it's resistant, but it's kind of feels loose a little bit. It's got a nice drag though, okay? And now it's starting to get tighter. So if I was to whip this out, just for the camera's sake, and normally I don't like to do it, at least you have an idea where that is. Well, geez, right there. So I have a little bit of a, not such a tight bore fit, but a slightly looser one, and here it's a little bit more snugger and firm, which is great. Now we're back to this again, and it's going down, and it's going down actually really, really nice. And now I hit the choke. See, I can't get this to move. My hands are slipping. It's just, oh, I just popped it. Okay, so I have a choke on the barrel, and that's great. Now I also want to do something here just because I'm curious. I'm going to be very careful, and I am going to take this tape off. Because you know, you got to watch how much tape you put on. Because maybe what you're feeling, I just thought of this. Maybe what you're feeling is actually the tape riding against the bore. I hope not. Geez, I only wrapped it a little bit. Let's go find it out. I wish I didn't put those pellets back in here. Anyway, let's put that in. I'll just be very careful. Well, this, if you do something like that, I had sand this down. Don't pull it out of the pellet to see how deep you are. If you do that later, at least put at least one piece of tape on there. I just want to see if I'm getting the same reading. I don't think I had that tape on there too much now. Here I have a little spot, and I know it's right in here, and I'm okay with it. It's firm here. And it's not so firm here, right here. But it has a drag. It has a light pellet drag, and that's good. That's better than loose. I got pellet drag here. I have consistent pellet drag. It's a little tighter now, pellet drag. I have a very nice bore to pellet fit. Right here, it's actually a little tighter, which is nice. So all in all, I have a very nice barrel. I have a lot of it's pretty much consistent. Okay, and now I hit my choke. If I was to pull this rod out, it would go down to here. The barrel's back further. So I'm going to pop that choke. Watch this. Okay. Now, in the beginning, that choke was very hard, and from just running this test, it's actually starting to get a lot better. This is a fantastic barrel. So you're really looking to see what your barrel is. It may be hard. It used to be hard, but I'm telling you, from what I've seen, the Hatsan barrels, they're coming out faced inside. They're coming out faced. Here it's all faced, right? And then they actually have a crown, a real crown. They never had that before. And then they also had issues where the blocks were too tight. So you stick the pellet in, and it's just like, really, you got to work it to get it past there. And that's ridiculous. It's not supposed to be like that. At any rate, you're going to find out what's going on with your barrel. If you have a pellet that goes in basically and through with no resistance, you got a bad barrel. It's oversized bore. Don't even bother to swag your skirts. Forget it. Send it back. Tell them your bore's oversized. You want a rifle that's right. And it's typical to have a barrel that you have spots that are loose. You know what I mean? And then you get back to the pellet drag, and it's fitting the pellet better. And then it's back and forth as you get through different areas. That's kind of typical. But if you get one that's more consistent all the way through, like this one, then you consider that good, real good. Make sure you have a choke. You might have a barrel that doesn't have a choke. And so now you know what your barrel's doing, right? Then the rest is you actually breaking the gun in or tuning it and testing it. Well, you can't tune it. You're going to shoot it first. Put a scope on it, right? And see what the pellet to impact, see what your point of impact is. It should be fairly good. But at least now you have an idea of what's going on with your barrel, and you're not out in the dark, not knowing a darn thing. So there you go. Now you have one reason if you find that your pellet just has no resistance. Now the last barrel in here, George's rifle, his whole barrel from here to the 2 whole thirds of it was basically oversized. He had a .25, and it was the last third that it finally actually was a decent pellet fit. Why and how a barrel can wind up like that is, I don't know. But I was able to put a choke on it because it didn't have a choke. And I was able to get him something decent out of that rifle. What a shame. If he had a better barrel, he would have had even better accuracy. But he did tell me it actually got even better the more he shot it. So I imagine you start to lead up your barrel a little bit, and that'll tighten up your groups too. So anyway, that's that. There's a big tip for the day on that. This particular barrel, this is the newer design. It's really cool. It has the, I guess, I'm hoping it's Delrin. I really don't know. And the other side just has the washer. And when these are brand new, they all have a little edge on them. They're not just flat. One side will have an edge, and you can feel it and see it, and the edge will actually drop down into that groove, and this washer will actually seat and not slide around on you. Well, there's a lot of tips for you right there. When you go to clean this all out and get all the grease out and crosshatch and do all your work and clean it all out, when you're done molying and all that, I usually work the piston in and out several times, pull it back out, clean the face off if there's too much on there. It depends, right? And then when I am all done, I'll check this porthole before the piston's back. Maybe some got up in there and I'll clean that out. I will also reach down in here with a towel, paper towel on a dowel, something like that. And I'll go down there to the bottom and get anything that's in the bottom out. So that's what I do. Now to put this back real quick, just to get to that part, I'm going to just stick this in to get this in. Just to give you another tip. Get rid of these pellets again. Well, you put your moly/oil mix, if that's what you're using, on your fork. I forgot to tell you, basically, you got a jam here. Here's the jam. Looks like this. All right, let's get into the light. Looks like that. There's a pin for this jam right there. This comes off, and it's right there. See that? That's the pin for the jam. And so the jam sits in there like this. So if you want to get this jam out, and I don't see why not. I mean, hey, some people may say, no, I want my jam to be tight as hard as hell. Well, I don't. I take them out. You just got to press this down on your work table so that the spring collapses, and then you can punch that pin out. Take the pressure. The jam is being pushed up against that pin by that spring. And then you can get this all out, clean it all out, and put fresh lube in there. And then just reverse it, put the spring back in, push down on the pin, and then when the pin's back, pushing the spring back, you can slip the pin in right on top of the slot here. And then make sure that it's dead even on both sides. I do that because that's what I want when I do a rifle. At any rate, let's get this back together real quick and we'll wrap this up. So we got moly in the forks, moly and oil mix. And actually it's for me, it's just this is just basically EP moly grease. I used to make it, but I stopped doing it now. So I'll put some there, and I'll put some here. So this basically, this newer design took away the two thin friction washer deals, which is great. At any rate, when you're going to put this back, put the edge back where towards the slot, and so it will lock in. And I think I got it backwards. You know, when you take these apart and put them back, you wear that edge off. And then you have more of a fight on your hands. But anyway, you have a nice one. It's going to be totally flat. You'll seat in there, and then you can, it'll stay there. And if you have a little edge and it's in there right, you can press down firm, and then she'll stay where she needs to stay. Well, unfortunately, the way I'm situated, I'm going to have to hold that and turn this around like this. And there's the cock and slot shoe that's got to go in there like this. Now listen, this is just a mock-up. I'm going to show you some stuff and you can take it from there. So everything's oiled up. I'm going to take this here. Now I'm going to turn it around where, since I have one washer, if I had two washers, it really wouldn't matter. Let's take a look here. I'm going to hold this down and work this in. Hold it with my nail if I have to, and just take my time. And I got it in there, probably at this point close enough. At least the washer's not sliding out. Then take your tapered pin, slide it in there, get it to seat. Now I can turn this whole thing around. And then pull it down. And if I want, I can even do this end too. And then carefully pull that out and carefully lower this down so we don't change anything. Then I have my typical pivot bolt. I'm going to stick it in there. And if everything's lined up right, it will be no problem getting this down and started. And to screw it in, I'm just using a regular driver. I'm not putting any torque or tension on anything, so I don't have to worry about messing up the head. And she'll go right in. And that's what you do to get that back properly without killing you. And just wipe off your extra stuff as you go back through your tune that you see that doesn't belong there. Now that's not tight, it's just in. I already told you what you need to do. This is a mock-up so that you have an idea of what's going on and what you need to do with your gun. Okay? Now, you may have a problem with your barrel. I don't know. That's up to you. You have to, don't go run and say, I got a bad barrel. Use your common sense. If you got a light pellet drag, you're doing great. If you have light pellet drag and empty spots, that's kind of typical with barrels, okay? The barrels are not perfect, but if you have consistency, that's even better yet. A tighter bore all the way through with consistency is really golden. Anyway, that's my tip. I hope that helps you out. Remember what I told you. You're the one that's going to have to use your skills to make sure you have this where it's supposed to be so it's firm and it's locked up. And what? That it can't go past the little set screw. This is the part that can really be frustrating. But look, you know what? By the time you're done, you'll have your rifle set up right. You'll know what's going on with the barrel. Hopefully you've taken my little tip on gas ram. Use the XL Crossman gas ram. I've used the commercial rams. I've had them before. I filled them up to 170 bar, and for twice the money, it gives you a little bit extra cock, and it costs you more for the cock and to break them. Mine, the one I had, wasn't too bad. But you know what? The Crossman XL ram for the money, it gets you there compared to spending twice that much, and it doesn't get you much more, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, and the same with the little guns. Use the Crossman Titan if you have like say the Hatsan 95. That'll take the Titan gas ram. The Benjamin or the Benjamin Nitro Venom. That's the same smaller size ram you need for the 95. Now the 95 is a little different. I'm not sure what I'm doing with that yet. I may want to just use that spring, slightly detune it, because that's a different animal. You hear me? Well, here you're talking about these big magnums. They are the beast. Okay, and I don't think the springs are going to last. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I recommend you doing the gas ram. So anyway, there's a lot of tips for you. I really hope that helps you out and gets you back on target with your ability to get into your gun now. That's the whole purpose of all these clips. Okay, so this is Mike saying be safe, and watch those forks. Take care. This is Mike saying be safe, and thanks for hanging out.